Here in New York, police have been cracking down on protesters outraged over a man's violent death on a subway train. 30-year-old Jordan Neely, a former Michael Jackson impersonator who was homeless, died after being put in a chokehold by a Marine veteran. It was all caught on camera, and now the grand jury is considering charges. A warning, the video is disturbing. Nancy Chen has the story.
Demonstrations erupted in New York again Monday night over the death of 30-year-old Jordan Neely. Neely was homeless with a history of mental illness. Witnesses say Neely was acting erratically on the subway last week, screaming about being hungry and tired.
Out of the club.
That's when video lasting nearly 3 minutes shows Marine veteran Daniel Penny with Neely in a chokehold.
Kill him now.
As at least one onlooker warns, it could be fatal. Neely was pronounced dead at the hospital. His death ruled a homicide.
I think what happened is things got really out of control, but horrible accidents sometimes can turn into a manslaughter.
Former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Michael Bachner.
The testimony of the other people on the train, how endangered they may have felt, how heightened and really kind of scary and aggressive the whole situation was, that could lead to the conclusion that he acted in self-defense.
A lawyer for the 24-year-old says Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely and could not have foreseen his untimely death.
Jordan's story could be anybody else, anybody else's family member, anybody else's loved one, could be dealing with these issues.
Neely's family says Penny needs to be held accountable.
What would justice look like for the Neely family?
So justice immediately means an arrest. It means following the process through and letting Daniel Penny have a day in court where he tries to prove that none of this is what we all know it to be, a murder.
When this happened, an NYPD spokesperson mentioned Neely did have an extensive record of arrests. The former Manhattan Assistant DA we spoke with tells us that likely would not be a factor in a potential case unless Penny somehow knew about Neely's history when he encountered him on the train. And this has brought up so many conversations, especially about mental health and the resources that are devoted to it.
Yeah, and whether Jordan Neely should have been on that train at that time after seeking help on many occasions, according to the reporting that's out there. His family wanted help for him. He was hearing voices, and we have a system that is porous, and people fall through those holes, and they end up in a situation where this never should have happened to him.
Right.
He also never should have been there.
Yeah, when you start peeling back the layers of mental health and what we're doing for those that are struggling with it. Yeah. Right about that, Tony.
When you look at that video, all I can think of is he's dead and why. It's very tough.
Nancy, thank you very much. Very complex story.